Hello, everyone. Welcome to our fourth day, yes, already, in our first International Congress, More Human, Rehumanizing Humanity. My name is Jessica Lockhart. I am the director of the International Institute of Humanology that organizes this Congress, together with, and thank you for the support, together with the Global Coaching Federation, the World Federation for Mental Health, LOANI, Leaders of All Nations International, or Ladies of All Nations International, and INIPAC. Thank you so much for your collaboration and for supporting us in organizing and disseminating this incredible human congress. As you know, we're approaching a human topic every day. We discuss different topics with the different participants, the different experts from all around the world who join us to give us their opinions, their perspectives, their views. The idea is that by listening to all of them, we get a more comprehensive view, a more comprehensive understanding of the topic that we are addressing. And today, the topic we're going to be dealing with is healthy and inspiring relationships, which is something that everyone should aspire to. The general title for this Congress is Rehumanizing Humanity because, as we've been explaining in the previous days of this Congress, we really need to start becoming more human. We really need to start going back to basics, to connect with ourselves. We've been understanding the world and interpreting it by looking outside of us. We've been going through revolutions in the world that always focused on things outside of us. At the Institute, we believe it's time to go back and look into us, go back to basics, go back to the human being. And that is what the main topic for this Congress is. But as we said before, each day we focus on one aspect of that rehumanization of humanity. Now, without further ado, I'm going to start introducing the different wonderful, incredible panelists that are going to be with us today. I have to say, they're all fantastic. They are all incredible experts, and I am sure we're all going to learn a lot from all of them. As the first panelist today, then, I would like to invite Val Alino to join us. Val supports vulnerable communities through education, by supporting teachers, children, and teens, including organizations that support children with special needs, as well as parents through conscious parenting. She also supports homeless people and has collaborated widely in natural disasters. Her message has made her an international keynote speaker, sharing her experience and knowledge in Asia, Europe, Africa, North and South America. Val's built a global community that supports her humanitarian causes. She is therefore a keynote speaker, a coach, NLP expert, volunteer, and author. And she is a nomad person. Val, I am so happy to have you here. Welcome. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you to all of you watching now or later. It's my pleasure to be here in such a beautiful platform. Let's go straight to this topic. Since when did it have to become an issue to even be speaking about what it takes to have a healthy and inspired relationship? In fact, this is the topic that drove me to write this book, A Journey Back into Your Heart. If we could only remember that heart that we were gifted with from Source when we were born, and that heart that was able to see through pain, that was caring, loving, empathetic, that is always there for one another. This is our child heart. And then along the way, we know what happens. We get programmed along the way. We know this because we repeat it. We see it in every video. We see it in every YouTube video as well. But there's something that was holding us back to do that inner work, to understand the path of our ancestors and look at it with empathy and love. When we know the story and the history of our loved ones, we're able to cure, embrace, and deconstruct those limited beliefs that perhaps were stifling us from reconnecting with our heart and being our truest self. And since we stopped doing that work, because out of fear of whatever is going on with each one of us, then we co-create these toxic relationships, and this goes on in generations to come. So my plea and my wish and my desire and my prayer for all of us is to remember that there's no escape in this matrix. It is only through your heart, through the time that you spend in connecting with yourself. In fact, service, this is why I'm such an advocate of service work. That is where you really get life lessons, where you are in a position to make a difference, but at the same time grow. I have a small story to say, and I've shared it a couple of times, but by far is my favorite. My biggest nightmare came in true life in Africa in a service trip when I saw a teacher beat up with a stick to their child. I saw it, my worst nightmare. And lo and behold, instead of judging the relationship or punishing or making that teacher leave that school, all I did was held them tight to my heart. And I asked him, my love, who in your life has hurt you? Who in your life has hurt you? I see you. I see your pain, and I love you. And that is all it took for this teacher in particularly to turn around and be an advocate and a voice for his students, and now be a voice for other teachers to stop this. The same goes to parents. When we can actually see within ourselves the opportunity to grow, when we're being triggered by our children, when they are poking at us and we think that because of culture or because we're bigger or because we're frustrated, we can monopolize the heart of our children, we will only stop the growth of our own connection, the connection and the possibilities that we have to discover truly why we are here, to not only have this relationship with ourselves, but to understand our why of what we have come to do on this earth. So when in doubt, when these relationships keep on hurting, when these triggers keep on happening, when you keep repeating the same patterns and the same footsteps of the pathway that we all know is not the correct way, it's a moment to stop, to connect with nature, to be vulnerable, to raise your hand and ask for help. Because believe me, if someone stayed too long in a relationship, that was me. I carried my culture. What would they say? What if my kids that meant my family? And then it was almost too late when I almost lost my life. It's a true story. I shared it in my book, and I just want to embrace this moment with all of you and tell you it is possible to build a relationship first with you and co-create every relationship to get better than the next. Just like us in this panel, I know there's a higher reason why we're here. And I know why Jessica came into this service work that we do in Loani. And I want to just hold you all tight and encourage you to keep on going, to keep on seeking, because together is when we heal, when we understand that the pain of one is the pain of the other, when it's not a cliche to say that really we are one, and that love is the cure to it all. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here for this moment, and I pray that these words have been of service and inspiration. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you very much, Val, for those words. It is really important to try and understand what makes us deal with other people the way we do, as you just explained. And that is part of having healthy and inspirational relationships. Thank you, Val. Let me now move on and introduce another one of our speakers tonight. I would like to introduce the only gentleman in the room. Rahul Jain is an entrepreneur by profession, a motivational speaker, and life coach by passion. He has an undying spirit and passion for inspiring people. Over the past 18 years, he's inspired thousands of lives with his initiative, Living Life, delivering motivational speeches, workshops, and keynote addresses. He engages with young minds and equips them with life skills to lead a life with purpose and passion. And Rahul is connecting all the way from India. Very happy to have you here. Welcome this evening. I know it's quite late for you in India, and I doubly thank you for being here. Rahul, these are your 5 minutes.
Thank you, Jessica. It's an honor indeed to be on this platform among the panel, which is spread across globally. And we are talking about rehumanizing humanity. We are talking of this in the times when artificial intelligence is taking over us and we are missing out on the human intelligence. I'm glad we are having this Congress about this human intelligence that is much needed to keep us and help us remain human. To begin with, I would just like to ask each one of you all the question, what is 1 plus 1? The entirety of our human relation dynamics can be summed up with the answer to this question. We are either draining in coexistence or living in harmony or thriving with codependence. What makes this human connection intriguing is the possibilities of unlocking an infinite potential of each individual when he is or she is a part of a relationship. And why are we talking about rehumanizing? The world has grown leaps and bounds, but in the process, we have lost the connection deep within with who we truly are, a human. What makes human connections intriguing and what we have lost in the process is the sense of compassion and empathy. That is what makes the power unleash about the relationships that we have. Let me break the topic that we have today, healthy and inspiring relationships. To give you a brief, just the understanding of what relationship is, it can be in any context. It is all about the connections we have with the people that we are surrounded with. And mind you, each relationship serves a purpose of its own for each individual in the relationship. And that is what makes the beauty of it, that each one is there for their own and yet for the relationship. Now comes the important part. Where have we lost the way? Healthy. When we talk of healthy relationship, what have we lost out is in the process of relationship. What's the first question that comes to your mind when I ask you, how do you look at your relationships? We think of who is there when nobody is there. We think of who is there to cry. Whose shoulder do we have to cry? Do we have when we need to cry? Who understands you like nobody does? Now you see the entire definition of when we look at relationship in this context is inward, is what are we looking for us in the relationship? And that is where in the process of going inward, we have lost the connection, which is what the purpose of a relationship should be. So the need is not me, but we. And here it can also be a case where Dr. Val was talking about being lost in your own world. When your focus is you become silent and you become a walkover. You open up yourself to a lot of abuse, a lot of manipulation, which if you do not have boundaries, you are bound to become a victim of in a relationship. And on the contrary, where we've seen a lot of people on the me part of it, where it is all about I, me, and myself. It is an aggressive behavior of looking at your agenda in the relationship and where we miss out on the point. And what we need in the healthy part of the relationship is the idea of we, the balance that serves the relationship, both the individuals equally. We don't fight with each other. It's not a game where one wins and one loses, but it's a team game where we win and we fight for each other. And that comes with respect, compassion, and serving each other's purpose in the relationship. Next and the last one is about inspiring. I've seen beautiful relationships in coexistence, but missing out on a beautiful opportunity of how we can be better than 1 + 1 being just 2. The challenge is we live in harmony, but we miss out on the point of how a relationship can help us thrive. The need, therefore, is not to be just a yes man in the relationship. It's to challenge. It's to know, to be the best cheerleader, to be the best critic in the relationship for us to thrive and get the best out of each other. So when we are better together, we are more than just the sum of the parts. That is where the relationship works on an inspirational level, where each one of us become a better version by being together, more so by being together in the relationship, not as individual parts. And that's where I would just like to leave you again with the same question.
Thank you so much.
1 + 1 working out. Thank you, and over to you, Jessica.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you very much. It's funny because you started your presentation by talking about artificial intelligence, and then you moved on to speak about connection. And I think that mix is an interesting one that we will have to explore a little bit more in this Congress tonight. Let me now introduce the next panelist. I am really, really happy to have her on our Congress because, well, we've been kind of walking alongside for many years now. I'm talking about Alexandra Lange-Bernal. She is currently living in Switzerland, where I used to live until a few months ago. And I knew about her, she knew about me. I also knew about her mother, with whom she usually works. But we never had the chance to work together until today. And I am really, really thrilled and pleased to have you here, Alexandra. Well, she is a visionary leader at the forefront of human connection and empowerment. Originally from Latin America and now based in Switzerland, she, alongside her mother and business partner, Marta Bernal, drive change through their ever-evolving women's global community. With over 12 years of immersion in personal, professional, and spiritual growth learning, Alexandra is an international mentor and inspirational speaker, bridging generational gaps while fostering meaningful and authentic relationships. Recognized as exceptional women of excellence by the Women Economic Forum, Alexandra and Martha's unique and proven method guarantees effective results through the power of trust, respect, and love, guiding women worldwide to lead extraordinary relationships. Alexandra, thank you for being here. I am so happy to see you. You have your 5 minutes now.
Thank you, Jessica, for this warm welcome and introduction and this kind invitation to be a part of this unique circle of international leaders, all sharing a topic that we're passionate about and that is dear to our hearts. As I've been listening to Dr. Val and Raul, great presentation. Thank you so much for this golden nugget. And indeed, a topic that is very crucial for humanity right now. And I also want to thank everyone that is here with us today, my fellow panelists, whose inputs and contributions today have, as I said, touched already my heart in different ways. And I'm sure we will continue inspiring each other throughout this evening. And of course, our audience who's joining from across the world and has chosen to dedicate time and energy sitting here with us today to dedicate time, not just for us, but to yourself and your relationship. So thank you, Jessica, for this invitation. I'm a strong believer of the old saying, the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. Who has heard this saying before? Similarly, I'm a strong believer that the way we relate with ourselves sets the tone for the way we relate with everyone and everything around us. Wouldn't you agree? I think this has also been said by our previous panelists. And when it comes to healthy and inspiring relationships, this concept for me goes beyond our personal relationships, which are our family, our partners, our kids, our extended relationships, which play a huge role in our lives, our friends and colleagues, for example. For me, it touches on the spiritual and physical aspects of our being as well. Let's say the relationship, for example, that we have with money, right? We have a relationship with money. We have a relationship with our own businesses. We have a relationship with work. And also we have a relationship with our own bodies, for example, even with Mother Nature itself. So from the moment we come into this world and until the moment we decide to depart into our next spiritual adventure, whatever you believe in, I personally believe that our job is to build, co-create, which I love this word, and I'm happy to hear it also from Dr. Val, that we build, co-create, and nurture different types of relationships in our lives in order to grow, evolve, and transform. Because each and every relationship in our life is a mirror of our internal world. So they reflect back to us what we still need to acknowledge, accept, and heal within ourselves. So what we believe we are comes straight back to us. So it's like the law of gravity, right? Whatever goes up needs to go down. So whatever we are and whatever we believe we are is what we attract into our lives. It all starts with us and from within. So in order to build, co-create, and nurture healthy and inspiring relationships with the world around us, we have to make it a habit to build, co-create, and nurture a healthy and inspiring relationship with ourselves. Easier said than done, right? We hear this all the time, but it's not always easy. And if you already started your journey of self-discovery, which I'm sure you have, otherwise you would not be here with us today, you know that it takes time, patience, and the willingness to be compassionate and loving to yourself first before we come and try to fix or change any other relationship in our life, because we can't. The only thing is that as soon as we change ourselves, let me tell you, our relationships will automatically change. So I'm not here to talk about what healthy and inspiring relationships are made of. Instead, I would like to gift you, as my mom and I like to say, that you gift yourself the opportunity yourself to find out for yourself what is a healthy and inspiring relationship to you, because we have different backgrounds, different experiences, and we perceive the world through a different lens. So this can only happen when you decide to be more conscious and more mindful of your own thoughts, feelings, words, and actions, and choose to deep dive into the power of reconnecting with yourself. This means moving from your mind into your heart and beyond. I love this word, beyond, into the pure essence of your soul. So for this, I would like to do a brief but powerful exercise with you. And I make it as brief as possible. Jessica, just give me one more minute, because I really want to invite people to just sit straight with themselves. Put your feet on your ground and then close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath. And inhale everything that is part of who you are truly. That self-love, the compassion, the gratitude, the dreams that you have for yourself and your family. And exhale any judgment, comparison, and negative thoughts you have about yourself. And allow yourself to be surrounded by a warm, golden light that will cover you and will extend to your family, your friends, your neighbors, and community, and into the world, so that we can inspire each and every one of us, starting with ourselves, to dive deep into who we are, our hearts, our souls, and extend that light as far as you can into the world, so that we can share, inspire, and empower everyone to have healthy and inspiring relationships that start through meaning, authenticity, and love. Whenever you're ready, and I know I'm over time, Jessica. Thank you so much. Open your eyes and stay present with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alexandra. I am sorry we're tight on time. I wish we had 4 hours for the Congress, but we have to set a limit. And I am sure that people appreciate it too. So thank you so much, Alexandra. We're going to move quickly to our next panelist for tonight. She is connecting all the way from Lebanon, if I'm not mistaken. Maha Shhadeh, I hope I am pronouncing the names tonight correctly, is an accomplished educator and author renowned for her exceptional contributions to language education, literature, and global citizenship. Her passion lies in nurturing students' language skills and fostering effective communication, making her a dedicated English teacher. She also shines as an accomplished author, showcasing her literary talents. Maha employs innovative teaching methodologies to kindle a deep appreciation for language among her students. Additionally, she serves as a British Council International School Award Ambassador, actively advocating for cultural exchange and global citizenship within educational institutions. Her commitment extends to her role as the esteemed president of the International Internship University Students Development Council, where she leads initiatives empowering students through internships and personal development workshops. Maha's illustrious career has earned her numerous accolades, including the prestigious Edu Global Leader Awards 2021. She is not only an educator and author, but also a proficient editor, translator, and international project coordinator, showcasing her versatility and influential presence in the field. Maha, welcome. Thank you for being here. The floor is all yours.
Hello, everyone. I would like first to thank Jessica for giving me the chance, or giving me the privilege actually to be with you today, with our amazing panelists, and especially for giving me the chance to speak in this amazing topic. I would like to start my conversation for today by a quote by Henry Mill. She mentioned that the only thing we never get enough of it is love. And the only thing we never give enough of it is love. Actually, these quotes capture the essence of both needing and giving love. We need, that's we consider as a basic in a relationship. We need to give love, and we need to also not just take love from other people. We need to give and take at the same time. When it comes to a relationship, when we're going to speak about healthy relationship, a relationship should be a place where you can be yourself. Very important to be yourself and be loved for who you are without any reservations. Here, what does that mean? Does that mean that a healthy relationship shouldn't require, when it comes to the relationship, it doesn't require just to do a lot of efforts in order, for example, to maintain, because love shouldn't hurt. Love should give us the power and should enable us to feel special. Does that mean a good relationship is not always, does that mean that when we have a good relationship, usually it's supposed to be like a sunshine and rainbow? No, not at all. I didn't mention that at all. It is supposed to be a relationship where if we are going to have a storm, we can face it together and come stronger. So usually the relationships are very important in our life because it gives us the power, it gives us happiness, it gives us love, and it gives us at the same time, it gives us support. That's why we need to be cautious in choosing people in our life, whether they are going to be our friend, whether they are going to be, for example, a partner, whether they are going to be our colleague. It's very important to choose for ourselves special people, to surround ourselves with special people who are going to give us a positive vibes, who are going just to teach us how to value ourselves. Because sometimes, for example, you're going to be with people who are going to belittle you or just give you a negative image about yourself. That's why when it comes to a healthy relationship, we consider as the cornerstone of happy life. Be careful, love yourself, and give yourself the chance just to choose people who support you, to choose people who are going to encourage you, and to choose people who are going just to make you feel that you are amazing, you are special, you are powerful, you are beautiful the way you are. Whatever the religion, whatever, for example, the culture, whatever the age, whatever the nationality, they are supposed to just to make you feel that you are human, and that's enough. They are supposed to just to make you feel that you are you are their power, and you are the superhero in their life. Nowadays, when it comes as my just role mentioned, especially in the age of technology, and especially in the age of AI, when we feel, for example, that we are about to be disconnected from people. I just witnessed sometimes of people who just trying just to connect with technology more than connecting with the real people. This is very important to shed light and take into consideration that we need to separate of the message of love, the importance of connection, the importance to disconnect sometimes in case you feel, for example, I usually mention I need to disconnect in order to be able to connect again, in order to be able to have a good relationship in order to have a good relationship with others people. So we teach people how to treat us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maha. You said a couple of times that we need to choose people who, you see, I think that's key. We have the duty almost of choosing who we want to be with. And that choice is ours. And we sometimes forget that we have that choice. And I think that's very important. Thank you so much. Let me now move on to introduce our last panelist for tonight. Not because she's the least important, not at all. In fact, I am thrilled to have her with us tonight. She is the real thing too, you're gonna see. And I've had the opportunity to collaborate with her before, and I know that what she's going to give us tonight are real gold nuggets. Mavis Tsai holds a PhD, is a clinical psychologist and senior research scientist at the University of Washington Center for Science of Social Connection. She's the co-creator of functional analytic psychotherapy, a treatment followed by therapists worldwide that harnesses the power of the therapeutic relationship to transform clients' lives. She is a recipient of Washington State Psychological Association's Distinguished Psychologist Award in recognition of significant contributions to the field of psychology. As founder of the nonprofit organization Awareness, Courage and Love Global Project, she trains volunteers to lead chapters in 6 continents to create an international network of open-hearted change seekers who strive to meet life's challenges through deepening interpersonal connection and rising to live more true to themselves. Mavis, an honor and a pleasure to have you with us once more. Welcome, and please, the floor is yours.
Jessica, it's an honor and a pleasure for me as well. I'm not a very formal person, but I'm a more visual person, so I have some slides to share. You were talking about my Awareness, Courage, and Love Global Project, and this is the lens through which I live my personal life and my professional life, and I would just love to invite you all to see things through this lens. So in this project, we bring together global change seekers who just want to connect authentically with themselves and others and apply their gifts to interpersonal and community transformation. As Jessica said, we're in 6 continents. This project stems from functional analytic psychotherapy, which focuses on the here and now relationship as a powerful mechanism of change. It's based on decades of laboratory and participant research. And 2 key concepts are clinically relevant behaviors, or CRBs, and how people bring their issues and their improvements right to the relationship in front of you. So very quickly, these are the rules of functional analytic psychotherapy, which are simple and profound. It's like noticing. This is for therapy, but it applies to people in front of you that you're interacting with. It's noticing their clinically relevant behaviors? How do their issues play out in front of you? And I call this awareness. We need to be courageous in terms of bringing out both our own, just what's beyond our comfort zone and what's beyond others' comfort zone. So it takes courage to do that. We want to be loving and just naturally reinforce other people's improvements. We want to notice our impact. And we want, since this is focused on therapy, it's like we want people to generalize their improvements to other relationships. The Awareness, Courage, and Love Global Project is focused on these principles from functional analytic psychotherapy. And our panels, other panels have been talking about the importance of both self and other. And so we really, really focus on this in the Awareness, Courage, and Love Global Project, which is that it doesn't work just to be focusing on yourself or on the other person, that you need to do both. So in self-awareness, we're just really tuned in. I'm not saying anything new. Our other panel members have talked about this, just really tuning into our hearts and noticing like what's coming up for us and understanding our history that's shaped our reactions. Self-courage is moving beyond what feels comfortable in this moment and envisioning the boldest version of ourselves. Loving ourselves, taking in what's beautiful about ourselves. It's taking in other people's love. It's just nurturing ourselves in the ways that we need. And then directing awareness, courage, and love towards others is being aware and curious and tender in terms of what other people, how they're interacting with us. It's understanding others' history, which has shaped their reactions. It's encouraging them to be the best version of themselves. And it's reflecting their positive qualities to them in very specific ways. So I just encourage our viewers to take a picture of this model, which I will be talking about more. And I'm really looking forward to addressing the questions that you have for us. And I think just about anything can be viewed through this lens. So excited to talk more.
Thank you very much, Mavis. I think this gives us a very clear framework that helps us explain and understand relationships in a very, very, very clear way. And now we're going to move on to the second part of our panel tonight, not without first inviting our audience to share their comments and their questions, of course, to subscribe to the channel so they can watch other events like tonight's and join us live to participate in this Congress. Now I'm going to invite all the panelists to join me on this virtual stage. Welcome, everyone. So we can start asking and answering some questions to highlight information and to somehow give us an even wider and more complete framework and understanding of these healthy and inspiring relationships. The first question that I would like to ask everyone, and remember, please raise your hand, virtual one or real one, or just open the mic to speak. The first question I want to ask you is, many people are openly engaging in different types of relationships today that weren't so often seen in the past. Is this a matter of fashion, or were they just kept hidden before, and why? Why do you think this is either fashion or they were kept hidden before? Who would like to take this question first? Go ahead, Alexandra, and then Mavis.
In my opinion, I believe they were kept hidden. It's just the time for us as a collective to be able to be ourselves. So the topic that we are talking today, as we are able to be ourselves, we are able to build healthy and inspiring relationships, because it's coming from a place of alignment, it's coming from a place of self. And I just feel that humanity is allowing this to happen at this moment in time. And therefore, I believe that many were hidden and now they're coming out because it's our time to do so.
Thank you, Alexandra. Anybody else would like to add something? Yes, Mavis?
I agree with Alexandra that they've mostly been hidden, and people are coming out more now because of greater social acceptance. There's more legal recognition of, say, same-sex marriage in many countries. There's just a lot more awareness and education. It's the digital era where social media has just created platforms for people to share their experiences and connect with others who have similar lifestyles. And as our cultures evolve, the traditional norms are moving towards valuing authenticity more. And there's just a lot of increased activism and representation in media that promotes the visibility of and normalization of non-traditional relationships. So I think we're really moving in a wonderful direction.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Rahul.
Interesting question there, Jessica. I think the perspective here from where I come from, or what I have seen in my life, is it's not that common per se, or at least what has been in the past is that it wasn't societally accepted or embraced. And so there was a limitation in the minds of people, more than the action part of it, or more than the reality. There was a limitation in the minds of people, and that was a fear because of which people used to stick. Today, not just a romantic relationship per se, any relationship per se, romantic or a corporate job. Earlier, we used to talk of people beginning and ending their careers in the same company. Today, the world has moved past beyond one thing at a one time. We are talking of things which are changed, where people are looking for choices and they believe that they have one life. And if they are not happy, if they are not committed to one thing, morally right or wrong, I would say it's a big question of how we would like to see it. But the reality is that people have gone beyond that idea that it's one for one lifetime. And so it's becoming a thing more than a fashion thing. It's deep-rooted understanding about accepting themselves and having the choice to play the game.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rahul. Thank you. If nobody would like to continue answering, I have another question that I would like to ask you all. The question says, how can we help somebody that we know is in an abusive relationship? Any tips? Yes, go ahead, Val.
And then we tend to, what the human being does typically is you give the opinion based on your belief systems of how you perceive life. And this is something that we really have to be careful. And I speak about it in my conferences, because if that person is vulnerable going through something and you give your interesting point of view of whatever you're going through or have gone through, you can have a real big saying in the outcome of that person. So as a coach that I am, is always turning it back to a question for the other person. How do you feel about the situation? How could I be of contribution to you? What does this relationship mean to you? What is another perspective that you might see, an outcome that perhaps you were not seeing before? And actually, I even start like, after they tell me what is going on, do you just want me to be a listener? Or would you like me to be a contribution and work together to see how we can best serve the situation? But I just want to call to everyone watching this to be careful with what you say, because one word said with a vulnerable person can be really damaging to the soul. The relationship can break, or maybe not pursue or leave a job. So always seeking within the heart and turning it back with love and compassion, asking questions so that the other person takes ownership of what they are going through.
Thank you, Val. Yes, Maha?
Actually, it's not easy to say goodbye or to walk away, especially for people who are being in such types of toxic relationships, because you can say at certain points of time we are going to be controlled by our feelings. So that's why it's very important to help those people to know how to matter, just how to foster their self-confidence and self-worth. They need to know that they are important. They need to know that when they are going to be in a toxic relationship, this is going to affect them physically, mentally, and also on the social level. So we can help them by giving them example or by a certain equation. Just consider life as a certain equation that you are giving this person, you are giving him your time, you are giving him your efforts, you are giving, for example, love, you are giving support. What you are taking, we are supposed just to also we can help them by leading by example, just comparing, for example, or giving modeling for them, because usually such types of people, when they are going to be in love or when they are going to be in a certain relation, they don't think a lot. When you are going to provide them with examples about, for example, couples or successful, not necessarily when a healthy relationship to be with a partner, it can be with a friend. When you are going to give them examples or models about others people, how they help each other, how they support each other, how they give or appreciate, because some people you are going to give, when you are going to give people your time, your effort, and they didn't appreciate that, this is toxic. So that's why we need to lead them by giving them example about people, about good relationship. We need to give them time to think about people. For example, just to close your eyes for a little bit of time. Remember your mom, for example. You remember your grandfather. You remember, for example, a certain person. When you are going to be with him, you feel happy. You feel happy without anything. So how about this person? Just close your eyes, for example, collect a moment, for example, you spend with this person. Is it worth it to stay in such a relation? Or most of the time, for example, you are anxious, you are depressed without a reason. Sometimes when we are going to be with such people, we have a feeling, we have a confusion, we can't understand why. Why? Because we are going to be just under their impact. So when we are going to provide models, when we are going just to give examples about the simple relationship, the healthy one they have it, they are going to compare and contrast, and maybe they are going to rethink about this situation in order to put a new path for their life, in order to be able to choose in a good way. Thank you.
Thank you, Maha. Anybody else would like to add anything? If not, I would like to add something, if I may, because something happened to me today. I was I was on internet and I suddenly saw something by the Red Cross. It was in Spanish, and it was something having to do with bullies at school, and school harassment and that kind of thing. And being the mother of an extremely severely bullied kid, I opened the document, and for the first time in forever, I encountered something that I have been teaching for the last 15 years, which is that in abusive relationships, it's not just the victim who needs help. The abuser also needs help. And the bystanders also need help. So in a bullying situation in school, it's not a matter of punishing the bully, removing the victim from the place, and just disseminating the bystanders. You have to work with the three of them. You have to work with the bully, because the bully is a bully for their own reasons, their own beliefs, their own past. And we need to work with them so they don't continue repeating the pattern. We need to work with the victim, not take the victim away, because by taking the victim away, we're telling the victim, you are a victim. You have to be protected. You're victimizing the victim again. And we have to work with those who are just standing by, watching, and even sometimes cheering, or looking the other way and doing nothing. We need to start changing the way in which society as a whole deals with violence. This is something I wanted to share because just by coincidence, it popped up in my Facebook account this morning, and I just wanted to share it with you.
I don't know if I can add something, since you mentioned about bullying.
Sure, of course.
Because this month, because it's month of empowerment and women month, actually I started an initiative under the title of empowerment. The initiative was just for women as well as students. Recently the initiative it's been the idea, the project is being, we have 5 schools in Lebanon, and we have 1 in Vietnam, we have 1 in UAE, and another. They are involved in my initiative under the title of empowerment. What is the aim of the empowerment? Is to empower women as well as, if I'm going to speak about the students part, because you mentioned about bullying. I remember the stories, is to empower students, whether they are going to be boys or girls, to share their weakness and to share their strengths under the title, the empowerment I dare to share. And having just feedbacks from the teachers and reading stories, I was really surprised, and I was really impressed by the cases, because we highlight the importance of sharing what is sharing, for example, fear, and also sometimes sharing something positive, because we have students who don't dare to share about their achievements. So we have many cases. I read many stories, because it is panelists and they can't show a slice. I didn't prepare, but hence you mentioned about bullying. I was surprised with the big number of stories about bullying. And one of the students wrote that his problem, his weakness point is that he's in love of bullying others because he was bullied at home. So you took my attention when you just mentioned that we need to take care of the one who is bullied, doing the abuse, and the other. So one of the students wrote that he's in love. He knows that it is not something good that he's bullying his friend, and he dared to share that his weakness is bullying others, and he can't control this types of feeling, because he used to be bullied at home by one of his relatives. I didn't remember exactly. So he realized the importance of encouraging and empowering to share. So we consider him, when it comes to his friend, they consider him as abuser, but actually he was a victim of his family, the victim of the society, or if we want to say, he's the victim of the background he's living in. Thank you.
Thank you, Maha. Yes, I think we could have a whole panel on this topic too, because it's so important, so basic, and so interesting. If there are no more comments, I have another question for you all. Until death do us part. What meaning does this phrase have in today's world? I see Val going like that.
Can you repeat?
Anybody who would like to? Yes, go ahead. Maha, I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said.
If you can repeat it, because the voice wasn't so clear.
Yeah, until death do us part.
Okay.
Until death do us part. What meaning does this phrase have in today's world? And I said that Val was going like this. So is there anybody who would like to make a comment or answer this question? Who wants to go first? Okay, I think Val is cracking up. Anybody who would like to say something about this?
I'm curious, Jessica, as to why you asked this question.
Okay, I asked this question because we had a panel before the panel, and we just shared questions and shared proposed ideas for the panel. And this one was proposed by somebody, and everybody else thought it was different from all other questions, and they thought it would create some kind of dialogue that might be different. Because, you know, in some countries, and due to religious beliefs, marriage is forever and cannot be broken. And it's part, for example, of the Christian wedding vows that you are married until one of the partners dies. And because we're talking about healthy and inspirational relationships, that's why we included it.
It is a different kind of question. And as you said, Jessica, it comes from traditional Christian wedding ceremonies, and I'm not hearing, I actually have a license in marrying people, and nobody uses this that I'm aware of anymore. And it seems like it's more of an idealistic aspiration. And yeah, that basically we stay together as long as it makes sense and that we're both committed to trying. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. So till death do us part is idealistic.
Okay, thank you, Mavis. I think Val wants to say something. Yes, go ahead, Val.
Well, I'm actually in a country that they do stand by that. Right now I'm from Mexico, but I'm in the Philippines, and part of the work that I come to do when I get on the mat and I do my inner dance session, I see and all the pain that they're holding in their relationship. But it is a country that is almost everyone is Catholic, and they will stick with their partner until death takes them apart, or the relationship is in such a way really that one passes, even like they can't stand it. I feel like in this time, in this era, there's no need to that. I mean, they're obviously put in the tools to have fruitful conversations, and I'm going to speak in past tense because I don't want to keep on programming the world that we were, I'm going to speak in past tense, used to running away from our job. We don't like it, go to the next one, we resign. We don't like the man or woman, we resign, we go to the next one. We don't like the child, we ship him off to some board school or some, hey, camp for you, 3 months. We were used to this kind of thing, but really, when you understand, again, doing that inner work, and I mean, your health is first, your life is first, your happiness is first. And if you're in a relationship that is not of contribution to you, you don't have to stay in a marriage just because you have the children, just because the culture says, just because no one in your family is divorced. In my opinion, we have a free will. We must speak up for ourselves. And of course, you can't deal with your emotions, seek a professional. Running away is not the answer, but please, if you are not in a healthy, trustful relationship, put a pause, take a breath, take a space, and do what you need to do to allow yourself to be the happy, joyous being you are meant to be.
Thank you, Val. Rahul, go ahead, please. Yes.
It's interesting with the question that we have posed. In India, we have a ceremony called as 𝗓𝗓𝗡𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, which is celebrating of 60 years of togetherness. It is a ceremony that is often celebrated. And when you come to the country India, it is one of the least countries, the countries with the least amount of divorce rates. I'm not referring that to the happiness quotient in the marriage. Yet I would say that there's a fundamental idea in how we are looking at relationships as trading today. With regard to give and take, is there a balance in it? Is there 50-50? Am I happy in it? Is the other person happy in it? The question that most often we forget is that we all have the waves in our lives. Each one in the relationship could have a different wave. What we need to understand is the difference between the values that we hold, where the commonality in the relationship works, versus the situation that poses or creates a tiff or a difference. What's important is, like it's said in cricket, the class is permanent, form could be temporary. More often than not, what we are seeing in relationships today is a fact of how looking for instant gratification or seeing a little flutter in the relationship, wavering support, or the environment or the situation which is creating that environment is making people rip apart a relationship which could still very well be worthy of a long-term till death do us apart. The point is, we miss out on this idea and we believe and live in this idealistic environment that we will be happy always. I would rather look at it as an idea of values being matching, of where is it that we're looking at life? Where is it that we are looking at this relationship together? And not just marriages. It could be companies. People are looking for that small hike of maybe 20%, 30%, and they jump into the next company, not realizing that this affairs that you have of 2 years, 3 years do not build a career for yourself. It is the long-term commitment despite the ups and downs. That is what makes the relationship and you and the other party, it could be a company, it could be an individual, both worthy of investing in that relationship through the ups and downs. I believe the idea is great if we find that one person, that one company, which we believe in has the best of our interest and we are willing to trust the interest of the other. In that case, I would say, till death do us apart. Idealistic, but yet
Or,
keeping the doors open.
and they lived happily ever after, which would be a little bit the same thing, right? I want to add something, if I may. I've been with my husband for over 30 years, and that's not very common nowadays. That's true. But I think that promise, that dream, that wish, that desire is not something that you can express one day and try to maintain for 30, 40, 50 years. You have to build it every day. If you want to have a healthy, inspirational relationship, it's a day-to-day endeavor. It's a day-to-day compromise between the two parties. And that is something that my husband and I understand very well, and something that we work on very hard every day. And we do it because we're happy together. We do it because we want to continue being happy together, because it is worth it for the two of us. The difficulties we may have in our relationship, we all have difficulties. Life is filled with bumps and hurdles we deal with. And there is this wish, this desire to find ways to overcome those hurdles and continue being together. If there ever comes a time in which we decide we don't want to be together anymore, what Val was talking about, that free will, then we'll decide what we want to do. But what I just wanted to say is, until death do us part, well, I think it's something we have to decide every day or every moment of the day. I just wanted to mention that. Yes, Alexandra, go ahead.
You inspired me to quickly share my story as well, because I've been in a relationship with my partner for 11 years now. And the question I get from friends, family, and people who are still in that thought pattern of like, how come you guys are not married yet? I respond from a place of love and compassion and trueness to myself, of saying, I'm happy the way we are. And this doesn't mean that we love each other more or that we love each other less. I live in the concept of the now, and I know that my relationship with him, as well as he knows the relationship with me, is working now. And we don't know what will be in 10 years, but we're keeping it for ourselves. We're not keeping it for the family, for the friends. It's not something that we show off to the community, to everyone. Is for ourselves. And I can only agree with you as well, Jessica. I mean, we've had ups and downs, and we've had times where we wanted to break apart, and we knew that we understood why we were in the relationship, why we wanted to stay in the relationship, and we keep on doing this work every single day, because it's not like because we're married we know that we're gonna be together forever. This is not the certainty that we should live with. We should live with the certainty that we love each other, we appreciate, we share the values, right? As Rahul said, I find this is the basis of a healthy and inspiring relationship, because you don't question anything anymore. You know why you're in the relationship. I mean, you question a lot of things, right? But anyway, like, you understand the values that are shaping the relationship, and it's then easier also when you have children and so on to be able to live by those values, and the bond can only get stronger.
Since we're sharing personal stories,
Just to add to that,
that was beautiful. That was beautiful, Alexandra. I guess we're all sharing personal stories about our relationships.
Just to add to a context of what I was sharing, just to put in context of when I talk so much about relationship, I've been married for 14 years and a father to 2 kids. So that's where we have gone through the ups and downs and still we stick together. And that's a backdrop to the idea that I shared. Over to you.
Thank you, Rahul. Mavis,
And
go ahead.
For me, I did not say the words "till death do us part" when my husband and I got married, but we honored that intention. So I was with him for 43 years until he passed away a couple of years ago. And it was just the most sacred relationship and the most sacred death. And there's something so complete about loving each other and being committed to be in this passionate, connecting relationship till death. But it was this choice that we made over and over again.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, really, for sharing. I think real stories also help our audience connect to us. We're already getting comments from our audience. I want to take a little break here to share 2 comments that we just got from our audience because they refer to what we were saying. The first one is coming from the UK, and it says, "It's so true, Jessica." I think this is talking about the bullying that we were discussing before. "We all need healing in some measure. We're all shaped by our lived experiences and environment." So she's just making comments saying that we're all shaped by our lived experiences and environment. Thank you for that comment. Then she speaks about marriage, and she says, "Marriage vows also represent the hope for a beautiful and peaceful future, souls longing for togetherness, expressing their hope in a pure way." I know, I'm an optimistic romantic. So thank you for those comments. You're part of this conversation in the audience, and we really thank you for sharing your thoughts and your experiences with us as well. I want to add a little layer to what we've been discussing. It just came to my head. Until death do us part, and they lived happily ever after. Well, Rahul just told us he has 2 children, but I also have 2 children. And my 2 children have very special stories. My eldest is a transgender man. My youngest, we adopted when she was 2.5 years old from Kazakhstan. And the 2 situations posed very specific challenges in our love and healthy and inspirational relationships, because, of course, you have a baby girl that then happens to be a boy, and in a family that also takes some understanding and growing together. And also adopting a child requires a type of relationship that is also quite unique. And a lot of people have asked me the question, which of your children do you love most? Or can you love your adopted kid as much as you love your biological kid? So these are all questions that arise when we talk about healthy and inspirational relationships. And I just wanted to put them on the table, just in case you guys want to discuss any of these topics. I think they're important as well. While you think about that, yes, Maha and then Alexandra, go for it.
Yeah, when you're right, it's the first part about the relationship. I think the idea is when it comes to our feeling, we can't have just one conclusion. It depends on the case itself. It depends on the kinds of the relationship we're going to have. If it is going to be built on mutual support, respect, trust. So I think this person is lucky, is really lucky to have such types of relationship, and I'm strongly with. But if this relationship is going to be a toxic one, I think I'm gonna be with Val. Our self-care, our self. We should put ourselves as a priority. Because in some society, and especially if I would like to talk about my society, because Lebanon is well known, even though I live in UAE, Also, where UAE, we have such cases. We had a taboo for the Arabic women that you are not supposed to be divorced. And in my country as well, because we have many religions, we have a taboo for the Arabic women that you are not supposed to be divorced. What is the society is going to say about you? So some women are forced to stay with abused man. They are going to stay in a toxic relationship in order just to have the image, in order to have this the image of the good image of the family or the good image of the society. So with such types of relationship, I'm strongly again, we are supposed to take care of ourselves. And the woman who believes that staying in such a relationship is going to have a good image for her family, she's actually harming herself and harming her children as well. Because when children are going to be with such types of family, with a mother and father who are not in a good relationship, they are going to be to have emotional problems. They are going to suffer. And as a teacher, as an educator, I face many problems of such types of children who came to school. They are not able to have a good academic performance. They are not able to be happy. They are not satisfied. And depressed kids are not able to be good at school. They are not able to express themselves in a good way. So when we are going to be in such types of relationship, no, we don't have to stay forever. If we did a mistake, if we, for example, it shows the wrong person, so the society is not supposed just to punish us to stay the whole life. So it's time to run away and walk and say goodbye and start again. We need to start. Every time we commit a mistake, we have the right. We are a human. We should start again. Concerning if we are going to love your child, I think yes. I believe so. I strongly believe, because it's not about the biological only. It's about feeling. It's about a human. I know, again, as an educator, because being an educator, you are in touch with many children. You are in touch, because I started education from kindergarten and I'm moving to university students. So I came across all levels. Sometimes really you are going to love your students a lot. You are going to be involved with their problems. You are going to be involved with everything. So how about your child? It's not just the mother who's going to give birth to the child. The real one is the one who's going to take care of him or her. So I don't doubt that you have a special heart, and you are going to be able to love both of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Maha. Of course, there's no doubt about that. I have to answer you. I love my two children to pieces. They're my world. I'm crazy for both of them. And I really, honestly cannot tell the difference. I love them both. Alexandra, you also wanted to comment something?
It's depend upon the moments you are going to share together. How much you take care of him, if he's going to be sick, if you are going, for example, not necessarily in difficulties, also in celebrations, in everything. So you are doing that each point. Sometimes we usually say that your friend that is near you, but better than your brother that is living abroad. So the idea is the connection, closing your eyes, what are you going to remember? The connection, the bonds, the memories be created with each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Maha. Yes, Alexandra?
I'm trying to pick up my thought from when I raised my hand.
I'm sorry.
To add to this beautiful conversation, also what Maha shared, and in general, my belief of loving people unconditionally, not just because it's a word, a buzzword that we use these days, but I think we can only love our children unconditionally for who each one is. So both your children, even if one is adopted and the other one came through you, even if you have all your kids that came through you or are adopted, I think you love them the same way, but different, right? Because they're all very unique and very different in their own way. So you connect probably differently with your daughter as you do with your son today. And that doesn't mean that because you spend a bit more talking to one or the other, you love him or her more or less. You just love them in your own way for what they are. And I think not only with our children, but with our parents the same way, and with our family and our partners. So it's, we give our love, and it's just as we connect with each person because we're all unique. And this is my add to this round of conversation.
Thank you, Alexandra. Yes, Rahul?
I just like to look at relationships, even if it's two children of your own, in a way where each one serves a purpose and different connection that we have. You talk of friendship, you talk of your colleagues in your office. Each conversation or each connection that you have, or each relationship that you have, serves at a different level, and the bond that we have serves a different purpose for us. So I have one friend with whom I connect all for the fun part of it. There's one soul friend, often it is called a soulmate, need not be a spouse alone, but there's someone whom with you connect at a deeper level when you have an experience in which you cannot express, and yet you have that person understanding what you are going through. And I would not compare this person to that person because each one serves a purpose of their own. And so even between two children, the fact is one could be emotionally strong. I have a child, the elder one is so sensitive, but I would like to put it as a strength that he in this time still has compassion at the age of 10 that he connects and cares for. While my daughter who's 5, maybe it's still time to come for me to judge about it, but she's all by herself. The energy, the pump up that she has is of a different level. So while my daughter wants to celebrate her birthday in a Cinderella theme party, my son says, I would like to go to the nearby slum and distribute sweets to them and not want anything for me. Each one for their own. If you look at it in that way, there's no comparison at all. And there's beauty in both of them. If you don't bring in the idea of comparison and choosing between one another, I think there's beauty in all the relationships if we wish to see what purpose it serves. Over to you, Jessica.
Thank you, Rahul. If nobody has any other comments, we have more questions that I would like to ask you. The next question is changing gears a little bit. We want to know the do's and don'ts of a healthy and inspiring professional relationship. We've been talking about marriages, we've been talking about children. What about at work? What are the do's and don'ts that you would recommend? Who wants to start? Val, go ahead.
It comes fresh to me because I just finished a 2-day corporate training called Conscious Leadership. So we spoke for 2 full days on these connections at work. It's really simple when we come back to our own humanity, starting with the basics. Just don't do to others what you don't want it to be done to you. When we start from the core value of our heart, there's no need to put this label that human relationships, as I said a little bit in the beginning of my speech, has to be so difficult. When you are really seeing that somebody is aching, you create that space to be able to be a support, a vessel of love, a space, an ear. And if you are triggered, you understand that there's something that you need to work on. So your don't would be, please don't react when somebody is reacting. Please create safe places, a space between you and the person when there is disconnection or dispute. Be the person who is present, be the listener, be the observer, be the person that admires, that has a compliment, be authentic, because if not, we build only false relationships. So I'm always going to go back to the heart, to the heart, to the heart. And when you are following it, there's no way you can go wrong. And of course, I did a whole two-day workshop on it, but in a nutshell, so that my colleagues can speak, that's my X factor, the heart, the heart, the heart.
Thank you, Val. Anybody else would like to add something?
I can add.
Yeah, go ahead, Maha.
Just to briefly separate the love and positive vibes everywhere you go. That's something to do. And also learn to set boundaries. It's very important to say no. Some people, especially when they're in the relationship at work, they don't know how to say no, and they are giving without thinking. So we need to learn that we have people who don't appreciate that. So never waste your time, never waste your efforts with someone who don't appreciate you. If he's going to be your colleague, if he's going to be your friend, if he's going to be, I don't know who, learn how to set boundaries at work, at any relation. Learn to say no if this person doesn't appreciate you. Because if you are not able to love yourself, if you are not able to have a value for yourself, people are not going to be able to do that. Usually, if we love ourselves, so we are going to be able to make others people, if we are convinced about ourselves, if we have a good image about ourselves, so we are going to teach people how to love us, how to respect us. But people who don't love themselves, they don't appreciate their time, they don't appreciate their effort, they give, because giving sometimes when you are going to give a lot, believing that you are a great person, you are supporting your colleagues, this is going to give negative impacts about you, especially people who don't appreciate giving. So we need to love ourselves. We need to make ourselves a priority. We need to learn how to set boundaries, how to say yes, and how to say no. And at the same time, we are supposed to do that in a positive way, just positive, spreading positive vibes everywhere we go. Thank you.
Thank you, Maha. Yes, Mavis?
I'd like to clarify, Jessica, whether you're talking about equal collegial relationships or if you're talking about client professional relationship, or
It's whatever you want.
It's whatever. So
whatever you can choose.
Yeah. I agree with what Val and Maha were saying about the importance of setting boundaries and so forth. So in equal relationships, we're talking about the importance of equitable exchanges so that the relationship feels like the give and take is relatively equal. And it means that both people show up with courage to be authentically them. And in relationships where it's unequal power, if someone is being our client, I think that awareness of the dynamics, awareness of what's really in their best interest, and being able to make sure that they state what's most important to them, and that we show up with our full humanity as well. And yeah, being loving means being able to say yes and no in ways that are in the best interest of both people.
Thank you, Mavis. Yes, go ahead, Rahul.
When you talk of corporate relationships, or the talk of, it's often referred to as the ruthless bottom line impact that we talk of in the corporate world. Everything comes down to the dollars, the money. And that's where I see, from where I have been in the past, where I was an employee, and today when I'm the boss in our field of work that I do, one thing that makes the entire difference in the relationship dynamics is communication. I believe the openness and the two elements of trusting and being trustworthy are the elements which are formed with communication that make the underlying difference in how you are going to have a healthy and inspiring relationship. I could very well be fired by someone, and yet, because of the situations or the entire context why I'm being fired by someone, and yet having the support of my boss to find the leads or the path ahead to guide on where or what to do next, by the same person who's telling me that because of a certain situation, we'll no more need your services in the company. To the other side of the situation where I'm the boss today, I look at the human side of it and less of the profit side of it, to make sure to have a bit more space in the relationship with communication, to have that healthy and inspiration for my clients or my employees or wherever you're looking at in the professional setup. The idea is more to do with communication and building that trust between the two, to understand whatever happens, however it happens, we have the interest of both of us in it equally. And it's not just about the money, but also about what all we can do beyond the monetary aspect, which is where the relationship works. Over to you, Jessica.
Thank you. Thank you, Rahul. It's funny because I was going to say something about that too. I was going to say that both in companies at work or at home, it doesn't matter, with friends, with your family, there is something we all need to have in order to keep healthy and inspirational relationships, and that is trust. When trust is gone, the relationship is damaged, and it's sometimes impossible to fix. So trust is one of those pillars that has to be preserved and really taken care of at all times. I was just going to say that. And we have a question from the audience that is related to this topic, so I'm not going to wait until the end to ask it, because somebody from Spain is saying, or is asking, is corporate leadership training real or a way to manipulate? In different words, is corporate vision and mission something real? Of course, this is all framed within healthy and inspiring relationships. So, what do you guys want to say? What do you want to answer this person who's asking? Yes, Val, and then Alexandra.
Alexandra, you can go because you didn't speak the last round. Then I'll follow.
Thank you. I pick it up again in terms of values, right? If we as a company and we as an employee are aligned in terms of value, and everything that we say, we write, we portray on social media, our website, we live by every day, then I believe it's well done. If not, then we cannot really trust, and I go back to that word, cannot trust the company we're working in because we don't feel identified anymore. And then we start to actually question, is this just something to show off? And this is just something to make us feel a little better? Or are we living this on a daily basis? And I think that's where we have to go back every time in any of our relationships. Does this seem to me in alignment? Is this person walking the talk? Is the company walking the talk? And then it feels right. And then there's no reason why to question it, right? So I think it's a question for the audience, for this person asking the question, does it feel in alignment to her, right?
Okay, we'll see if the person answers. Thank you. Val, go ahead.
So I will add, it's interesting that she's asking that question. So where is perhaps somewhere in her life mistrust or something that she would even bring that up? So when we're starting to look at other situations with scarcity or with possibilities to fail or not authenticity, it's an opportunity to look within ourselves. As I mentioned, I just finished a 2-day workshop with a company, and it was one of the most spectacular moments I have lived. It was real, it was authentic, there were tears, there was union, there was empathy, there was connection. They really went to the root of why perhaps some things were not going on. We had fun. So we know we attract who a little bit of, I'm just being gentle, but of who we are. We are mirrors of each other. And so what a beautiful opportunity for us to dig within when we're questioning or overseeing things that might not even be existing. Because please, let's all remember that we bring about what we think about. So the question is back to our beautiful audience. With love and grace, because we have all been there and it has happened to all of us. So it's just an invitation to take a pause and see where that's coming from. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Val. Anybody else wanted to add something? Okay, so this is the end of all the prepared questions that we have for our audience. Now it is time to continue sharing the questions for our panel, sorry. Now it is time to continue sharing the questions from our audience. There is a comment that I have to share. There's greetings from our representative of the Global Coaching Federation, who is greeting us, is connected, is watching and following this panel very closely. Thank you very much for your support again, for being there. Before I continue reading the questions, there is one question that I wanted to ask, because I think it was kind of mentioned, but wasn't really approached very clearly. And it's part of the questions that we included in the copy to announce today's event. And the question is, how do we know that it's time for us to leave somebody behind? And I think that's an important question. We've been talking about marriages, we've been talking about children, we've been talking about all these topics. How do we know it's time to let them go? Anybody wants to say something about this? Yes, Maha, and then Val.
I would like to share something personal. Maybe it is the first time I speak about in public, but when you mention this question, I just remember my relationship. I used to be engaged. I thought during that time that I was in love with this person. I chose him. I was adult. I chose him. But when we got engaged, I was about to get married. I finished my work. I chose all the furniture. I chose my wedding dress. We have a plan for for the wedding, for the party. I chose my flower. I chose everything. And all the people during that time, also I moved because during that time I was working with the government, so I need to move my job because we're just living in different area. I did that. Also, I did that. I prepared everything from A to Z. But when it comes to my wedding, just before my wedding, I was waiting the Christmas vacation because, you know, as a teacher, I can't, I need a vacation. So I was waiting the Christmas vacation. Everything was prepared. And it was supposed to be, during that time, it was supposed to be my wedding party. But during that time, I usually ask myself the questions, why I'm not happy? I used to feel confused. I used to feel that I'm not happy. I used to go outside just to do shopping with my friends, and I was so excited. And all my friends know that I'm so active. I just find happiness in everything simple around me. When I was doing all or preparing all this process, choosing the details, I wasn't happy. Even though when I chose my wedding dress, I feel that I'm anxious and confused. I didn't know I have something inside, but I can't understand myself during that time. All I know that I'm not happy. I'm not satisfied. I'm not doing that with love. I'm not doing that with passion, even though I'm a person, as I mentioned, so active, so sociable, and I can feel happy for simple things. When I was in the surgery and he came and visited me, it was, you can say that this point was a turning point in our relationship. It happened that I have urgent surgery before my wedding, 10 days or Christmas vacation. When he came and visited me, I feel he's a guest. I feel that he is a guest. He used to be the only child in his family, and he used to love himself. He was selfish. He didn't know how to take care of people. He didn't know how to love other people. Later on, I discovered also when I saw his relationship with his father, well, I started to put it with each other. Suddenly, as if someone say, what are you doing? Are you going to commit a suicide? This is not the right person. You are supposed to be in love with him or to be in a relation with him. I consider him actually, I didn't hate them because during that time, I told you, I chose him. I was adult, I chose him. I just noticed something, that this person is not able to love himself. He's selfish. He's not able. He just know from his mom. His mom teach him just to take it from other people, but he's not able to give for other people. The way he used to deal with me, the way he used, for example, to deal with his father, usually criticized me, usually didn't see that I'm doing something great, usually feeling annoyed if something is going to give me a good compliment. At the moment, I thought about my family, that what they are going to think about, because everything was okay, and the people, my friend, my students, all the people I just invited and preparing for my wedding. But I took the decision suddenly, especially I told you after my urgent surgery, as if I woke up and I decided to walk away. When I told my mom, when it come to your surprise, it was like a shock for everyone. But when I told my mom that I decided to be away from him, I was really surprised that she was so happy. She told me, I never saw happiness in your eyes. I never see the sparkle in your eyes. The one I told her, why you didn't mention that? She told me, because you chose him, and she wanted me to see she wanted me to see that this is not a healthy relationship. This is a toxic relationship. If he's not able to be happy for everything I'm doing, if he's not able to take care of me, if he's not able to support me, so it's time to leave. So here, to all the audience who's watching, never be afraid. When you feel that someone is not taking care of you, when someone is not supporting you, when someone just, for example, belittled you, when someone is not able, for example, to support you in case of need, or to provide you with emotional support, not necessarily, I'm not talking about anything related to financial issue. If you are not going to find your inner peace, because usually I ask my question, I don't feel, I just have this feeling, peace, inner peace. Okay. Sometimes we are going to be confused, and we are going just to have a mixed feeling, especially at a certain time when you feel that you are controlled. So real love is when you are going to be in a relation, when someone is going to take care of you, is going to respect you, is going to trust you, is going to have a just healthy communication with you. Otherwise, if you are not going to have all of these pillars, good communication, trust, respect, mutual support, I think it's time to say goodbye and move it quickly, not slowly, move it quickly. Thank you.
Before I give the floor to somebody else, there is a set of comments that I have to share with you, Maha, because they're directed to you. So this is a man I know from Kuwait. He's connecting all the way from Kuwait. And the first thing he said was, and this is with reference to the question, I think, the issue is in our expectations. And then he said, we can't give something we don't have. And he finished by writing, Maha, your story should be made into a movie. So I wanted to share his comments with you.
I strongly agree with him. We can't give something we don't have it. That's what I mentioned, because that's why I consider him as a patient, and I'm supposed to take care of him. I did my best. When you are going to make a lot of efforts, and you reach to a place that in vain, that this person is not going or is not ready to improve or to make a change, you need to walk away, as if you are just pouring from an empty cup. So I strongly agree with him. If we don't have something, we can give it for others people. Thank you.
Thank you, Maha. I think Val wanted to say something, and maybe it was Rahul too, I'm not sure, and also Mavis. And then I have a question for Mavis.
Well, I want to congratulate you for your courage, Maha, for sure. Many women do not have that courage and will go through just because of the limited belief of how much money you've invested. So what an inspiration. Thank you so much. And I want to just add that the time to really take that time to separate before it becomes that you can't even stand each other, before you are in a place that you're not safe, before that attachment comes that you feel like you're completely codependent to this person. You see the traits, you see if there are the lies, the betrayals, and for whatever reason, well, I'll just say we used to put it in past tense, stay in relationships that brought this tone. And when you actually stand up with this courage that you demonstrated, Maha, and you trust that there is a divine universe overseeing you and leading you, as a slogan of my company's name is Trust Your Journey, and we truly trusted we will be surprised that at any time of our life, there is someone there waiting for you. There is someone there to co-create a life that you deserve. So courage to all those women that for whatever reason perhaps are going, or men, huh? Let's not put it as, because we've seen that it's taking a little tone up. These women also being a little beating up on the man. So much grace, much love, and much empathy for living our own happy, authentic life.
Thank you, Val. Rahul, you wanted to add something? No? Okay. Mavis?
Maha, I am so inspired that you shared your story for the first time in public, because I think it'll give other people courage to do the same thing. It's not easy to call off a wedding 10 days
I
before.
dare to share.
Yeah. And I just feel like you really embodied the qualities of the word as courage and love in terms of leaving this relationship. And I just want to add one thing about what I think is a really important criterion for deciding when to leave. And that is when the person that you're in relationship with isn't willing to do the work with you. Because I think when two people are willing to work on a relationship and to get professional help, it's really worth putting the energy into saving a relationship. It's because when you're leaving a relationship because you're unhappy with it, unless you've given it your all and really looked at yourself and how you've contributed to the problems in it, it is somewhat likely that you'll get into another relationship and repeat the patterns. So I'm just advocating for working on a relationship with someone if they're willing to do it.
Thank you very much, Mavis. And it's funny because the question that we have for you from the audience, I think you somehow might have answered part of it. The question says, I've always enjoyed very much listening to Mavis. Can you please share with us the thoughts and sensations that today's conference created in your mind? Are you going to start doing something different related to the topic of today's discussion? That's a question for you, Mavis.
Can you repeat the question, please, Jessica? And can you tell me who asked it?
This is a man from Spain, and it says, I've always enjoyed very much listening to Mavis. Can you please share with us the thoughts and sensations that today's conference created in your mind? And the second question is, are you going to start doing something different related to the topic of today's discussion?
These are very thought-provoking questions. And first of all, thank you for saying that you like listening to me, and I wonder who you are. And I have been taking in what each person has said, and I'm going to be sitting with it. So I don't know that it's something that I can decide right away as to how I'm going to change, but I know that I'm always affected by the people who I interact with. And I feel just really uplifted and inspired by each of you. And there's a message that's consistent, I think, among all of us, which is really tuning into our hearts and listening to what we most resonate with. So that's my task, is like just really tuning into my heart and my spirit and seeing how I will be different as a result of this.
Thank you, Mavis. If I could add, I would say, based on what you just said, Mavis, I think it's also important in relationships, healthy, inspiring ones, to listen to our hearts, yes, but also to listen to others. Listen with capital letters. We're so used to not actually listening. We're used to preparing our answers while other people are talking, instead of really pondering on what the other person's saying, allowing it to enter us, really understanding what the person's saying. I think that in every relationship, listening is even more important than talking. And listening from the heart and with the heart. And I think that's something fundamental in every kind of relationship. be it a professional one or be it a personal one. And I just wanted to mention that. Our friend from Kuwait is saying inner peace to what you mentioned, Mavis. I have one more question that I'd like to ask our esteemed panelists tonight before we finish. We've been talking a lot about how to maintain or how to improve our relationships. But there's a question about how can we help our kids establish healthy and inspiring relationships? That is, right at the beginning, you know, not once they're already there. How can we help our kids really create those healthy, solid, positive relationships that we all dream of? Yes, Val, go ahead.
So this happens to be my cup of tea as well. Maha, I'm an educator as well. High five, my love. And I'm a conscious parenting coach as well. So I basically have dedicated my life to children and parents and teachers. And it's again, not rocket science. There's nothing to teach. They are here to teach us. Let me just break it down. If we could just allow them to be their own separate souls in a healthy, loving environment, there is nothing that we need to teach these children. They become the adult that they are with and the environment that they are in. So if there is a lack in relationships and they're not responding accordingly to the agenda or the program, it's back to the parents. I love you, parents. Back over to you, Jessica.
Well, or to anybody else who would like to answer. Anybody would like to add something to that? Yes, Alexandra and then Maha.
It's leading by example in a nutshell. Kids don't follow what they are told, they follow what they see. And I think the best advice for parents is, and I agree with Val, to allow them to be themselves, to not release them from their mission of actually being your best teachers, because they came here to teach you something, and you're here, and I pick it up from what you said before, Jessica, to listen. Our job as parents is to listen and to align with them from a place of love and from the heart rather than with the mind, and allow them to be who they truly are here to become.
Thank you, Alexandra. Maha?
Actually, Paul and Alexandra mentioned most of the time. I can add we need to create a space for our children where they are going to be able to freely express themselves. It's very important that our kids are supposed to be our friends. They are not supposed to be afraid to share with us their worries, their fear, or anything. Maybe something we feel it's not worthy, but with respect to them, it's important. So we need to teach our kids, to give them space, to give them time in order to share with us. Also, again, I stress the importance of teaching or inspiring our kids to love themselves, because when they love themselves, they are going to be able to choose the right person who's going to deal with them in a good way. Whereas, for example, kids who raise up in a family that they don't value their kids, they don't teach them how to love themselves, they don't boost their self-confidence. When they are going to be in toxic relationship, they are not going they are going to be anxious, they are going to be depressed, but they are not going to be aware of that. Why? Because they were raised in a home that didn't, for example, give them this great value and issues. So that's why I read the importance of fostering a just good image, good self-confidence. Teach our kids to know their own value, that they are important, they are amazing the way they are beautiful the way they are. So when they are going to face a toxic relationship, they are going to say, stop, no, we don't want to continue in such a relationship. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Maha. Yes, Rahul?
I second what Alexandra was mentioning, leading by example. I think more often than not, children in the house are one of the places where they absorb the most of what they are going to become is from the home, is from the dynamics that are in play right in front of them in the form of their parents and the relationship. Because we are talking of healthy and inspiring relationships here. I think more than working on them, I think if we work on ourselves and the relationship that is visible to them, I believe that makes a lot of a difference with regard to showing them how you're going to uphold yourself, whether it's a son, whether it's a daughter. How are you going to uphold yourself, and how are you going to build and work on the relationship? So today, me and my spouse, when we talk to each other with our kids around, there are instances where there are heated discussions. But just to give you an example, whenever we have a heated discussion between me and my spouse in front of our kids, we make sure to get back to the table. So the important thing is not that we cannot have discussions. The point that they learn and they see and learn from us is that irrespective of what happens, the respect remains, that we can always share what we believe in and still come back to the table, because that's where the relationship is healthy, that we can express if there's a discomfort, if there's a pain, if there's something that's wrong between the two of us as well. So that is all in front of the kids. So they know what to expect in their relationships, whether it's school, whether as they grow up in their relationships, in whatever world that they are going into, they have a benchmark of what is it that means to have a healthy and inspiring relationship. And that's by showing them, more than telling them, by showing them what and how it is to be built. I think that's the way, as Alexandra said, leading by example is the answer to it.
Thank you, Rahul. Let me add one thing, Mavis, and then I'll give you the floor. To what Rahul is saying, sometimes children are not lucky enough to have that role modeling at home. You know, they live in households where the relationships are not good enough. So I also think it's part of society's task and duty to offer those children alternative role models that they can be inspired by and that they can see alternative ways of living. Just mentioning it. Yes, Mavis.
I'm just smiling at what you said, Jessica. I'm agreeing with what everyone said, and I just want to highlight the idea that, well, I actually have a t-shirt that says this: it takes courage to grow up to be who you really are. And I think as parents, as role models, as people who take care of all of our children, we really need to tune into who they really are, and that not expect them to live up to our expectations, but to bring out who they are authentically. And yeah, it's just so important that we recognize that our children teach us as much, if not more, than what we teach them.
Thank you, Mavis. I have a whole bunch of comments from our audience. Let me read them so you might answer them too. Somebody from the United States is saying, today's topic is a must-see. People need to learn about love, urgent. Then our friend from Kuwait, Hamza, is saying, I believe we need to come into the relationship to give and collaborate rather than to take. And then he adds, the first 7 years make the person, talking about children and how they grow up. Then somebody from Mexico, from the United States, Mexican original, says, love should be given to those who deserve it, not to those who want to give it with no reason or for no reason. Okay, these are all comments that you can answer in a minute. Then Hamza from Kuwait adds, the children feel responsible for the arrangement between parents. We should spread love to everyone regardless of their actions because it's in our innate power. We only have a few minutes left. Anybody who wants to respond to any of these comments, do it now. Oh, and thank you, audience, for being so active and for participating so much. I love it. Don't forget to subscribe. I have to say it. Yes, Val?
I actually was just stretching, but I'm going to just say one little comment for the person who said, you have to deserve love. Everybody deserves love. There is not one single human being on this planet that does not deserve love. So wherever that is coming from, it's again another opportunity for our friend that we love the comment. It's just opportunity for growth, because I'm yet to find somebody who says, no, I don't deserve love. So it's time to see that everybody deserves it, and that every heart is wanting to beat, and every heart wants to rise its vibration to live in joy and in bliss and in glory. So that's my take on this particular comment. You guys
Thank
next.
you. Thank you, Val.
I want to say
Yes,
something
Mavis.
about, I want to say
And then
something
Alexandra.
about that too, that I think the people who act as if they don't deserve love may need love the most. And I'm feeling the hurt behind that statement that some people don't deserve love. And I just want to send loving kindness to you for however you may have been hurt.
Thank you. Alessandra?
Yeah, I share the feeling of the importance of spreading love wherever we go, regardless of what we receive, because it's an option for us, or a possibility for us as change makers, leaders of the upcoming power of the collective, to inspire others, to share love, to not be afraid. Sometimes we're just very afraid to actually give love and receive love because that's all we know. We didn't get it. But we can change the narrative. We can decondition ourselves of this thought and move forward with love and compassion. And I am only grateful for having had the possibility to share this space with all of you. You've all have inspired me, and I look forward to staying connected with you because I think we can do great things together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alexandra. Let me say something about what you just said. It inspired me to say, we're talking about love, healthy, inspiring relationships, and we live in a world that is at war. There's wars in many places in the world today, and not just big wars like the ones happening in Ukraine, Russia, or in Israel, Gaza, but also smaller wars like the wars that we see among different tribes and different gangs in streets. I think this message of love has to go beyond our family, beyond our friends, beyond our work, beyond our schools. We have to start creating healthy and inspiring relationships also at a political level, also at a national level, also at a neighborhood level. We have to start rehumanizing humanity because we're losing it. And with this, I'm going to have to end because we ran out of time. I want to thank our panelists for tonight, for your candor, your honesty, your bravery, for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom with our audience. I also want to share our gratitude with our audience. I want to thank you all for being so active and for participating and being here with us for these 2 hours. I know that communications like this one do seed a little change in the world. So I hope we can continue with these congresses. This is the first international congress. We hope to have more in the future, and we want to invite you all to join us. Let me now conclude tonight's panel by inviting everybody to join us tomorrow again for the last panel in our congress. Tomorrow, at the same time, the same place, we're going to have 5 wonderful panelists again. We're going to be talking about another very important human topic, the title of which is Happiness, a Buzzword. So please join us tomorrow for our last day, our last panel in this Congress. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here, and thank you for making a difference. Thank you.